Hey, everybody, welcome to the Not Move podcast. Going to be looking at some MLB today. This will be a quicker show than I normally run. Hope everybody's having a great day. Thanks for joining. All right, so it looks like we have one, two, three, four, five, six baseball games that start by 4:10 p.m. Eastern time today, and then three games later on this evening, starting at 7:15 p.m. Eastern time. Okay. So the first game starts at 1:10 p.m. Eastern time. So what, here in about an hour. Um, so the first thing I like to do is look at this weather, right? I don't see anything that rotogrinders.com is reporting that is too concerning as of right now. I think just the biggest weather flag looks like maybe the St. Louis Cardinals and Tampa Bay Rays game. Chance of some afternoon and early evening storms is what they're saying. But right now, forecast models keep the game dry. That's what they're saying here on rotogrinders.com. But it says it's certainly worth a double check prior to game time. So if you're interested in that game, just look out for the weather there. We talk about wind a lot on this show and how that can impact baseball's uh, path and whatnot. I am seeing a few games with the wind. It looks like a lot of these games we have wind blowing in today. So Brewers and Cubs, I mean, that's significant win there. Uh, 9.5, looks like 9.3 to 10.3 miles per hour blowing in from center right field, which gives a boost to pitchers in that game, just based off that wind. Rockies game. It's like 6.9 to 8.3 miles per hour coming in from right field towards that third baseline. So, that could cause, especially with like left-handed batters, that could cause, the ball to travel slightly uh, shorter than normal. Mets and Nationals wind blowing in about 7.5 to 9 miles per hour from left center field. Yankees Red Sox looks like blowing in from, as of right now, what I'm seeing here on swishanalytics.com is it's blowing in from left field towards that first baseline at about 10.2 to an 11.5 miles per hour. So there are significant winds today in some of these games. All right. So let's dive into this first game. I just want to start off by saying that some of the information that I do talk about may not be 100% accurate because the sources that I look at may or may not be updated but when I'm looking at them. So, for example, I looked at some sources at 7 a.m. this morning. Maybe that source hasn't been quite updated yet, but it should be right around that range. For instance, let's say at 7 a.m. I looked and saw that a bullpen ERA was ranked third. But then they played yesterday, and then it updates after I look at it, and now the bullpen's ranked fifth. Um, but overall, the numbers should be pretty close here. All right, first game, Athletics and Minnesota Twins. The Athletics and Minnesota Twins. All right, so I'm seeing that the Athletics, as a road favorite, rank first in baseball on that run line. All right. So that's the biggest run line advantage that I see for either of these teams here. And the worst, the biggest disadvantage that I see on these run line trends between these two teams is that Minnesota, after a loss, ranks 23rd in baseball on that run line. All right. Now we have, excuse me, we have Perkins versus Urena as the pitching matchup today, projected pitching matchup. Both of these guys throw with their right hand. Perkins Projected pitcher for the Athletics hasn't pitched versus Minnesota this season. The Athletics have a 4-1 record on the road with Perkins this season, and they won all of those games by 6+ runs. That's pretty cool. It's pretty crazy. I don't see that a whole lot. And then they lost one of the only game that they lost by exactly 1 run. So if you were thinking about taking the Athletics today plus 1.5, I know some of you like to move that run line around a little bit. Plus 1.5. The Athletics are technically 5-0 at plus 1.5 this season when Perkins pitches on the road. His average pitch count has been 50 this season, but it looks like they're increasing his workload because in his last 5 games it's been at 87. Yeah, I mean he pitched 103 pitches in his last outing against the Angels. So let's see here. I'm seeing that he is allowing. He's worse against left-handed hitters in regards to batting average. He's about the same in regards to left-handed hitting and right-handed hitting home runs. His walks per 9 inning average is rather high. It's at 3.7 walks per 9 innings. But Minnesota is below average in team walks drawn per game. They rank 24th in that department. So I'm not as concerned about Minnesota drawing walks against him here today. Also, I just want to note that Minnesota is not the best base stealing team, right? They rank 25th in stolen bases per game. Excuse me. The Athletics rank 24th in stolen bases allowed per game. But Perkins looks like he's got a decent pickoff move. And he's pretty decent at holding base runners on. His net bases prevented mark is at 1. We've talked about that a lot on previous shows, right? And then we got Urena. I won't be talking about home runs in this game. My time is limited here today, okay? So I'm going to try to make this show stop at the top of the hour by then. Okay, so Urena, right-handed pitcher for Minnesota. He's pitched for 4 teams this season, okay? He pitched versus the Athletics on May 29th, but he was with Toronto in that game, and he didn't even start. Toronto did win that game 12-0. He allowed 1 hit through 2 innings pitched, so not a big sample size. He did strike out 2 as well in that outing. Minnesota is 1-1 at home with Urena this season. They won by exactly 2 runs in that lone victory, and they lost by exactly 7 runs in that lone loss. Now, teams are 6-2 against the Athletics, formerly known as Oakland, right? Teams are 6-2 when Urena pitches against Oakland or the Athletics throughout his entire career. Teams are 6-2. His average pitch count, though, Urena has been rather low. It's been 44 this season, 51 in his last 5. So I would expect Minnesota to have to use their 23rd ranked bullpen ERA before the Athletics have to use their 28th ranked bullpen ERA. So I just because Perkins is projected to pitch a little bit deeper in this game, just based on pitch count and stuff, um, I'd give an advantage to the Athletics there. I'm seeing he's got a worse batting average allowed to right-handed hitters, and then he's about the same in regards to left-handed hitters and right-handed hitters hitting home runs. Um, his home runs per 9 inning average is up there. It's at 1.7. Excuse me. I'm not going to talk about home runs in this game, but if you like, an athletic to go deep here, I could see it. Um, we did talk about that bullpen ERA, even though the Athletics have the worst bullpen ERA out of these 2 teams, still have to give, the Athletics an advantage there because Urena hasn't been pitching deep into the games. With all that being said, I got to lean towards the Athletics here. What I'm seeing right now is that they're favored. So once again, they are the best run line team in baseball as a road favorite. So I'd have to lean towards the Athletics minus 1.5. Okay. All right, let's move on. Texas and Kansas City. The most favorable run line advantage I see here today is that the Royals rank second after a loss on the run line. They are the line is close right now. I'm seeing that the Royals are favored in this game. Okay, um, worst run line. So the biggest run line disadvantage that I see is that Texas, as a road underdog, ranks 19th in baseball as a road underdog. So the projected pitching matchup today, we got Corbin, left-handed pitcher for Texas, versus Lorenzen, right-handed pitcher for the Royals. So Corbin pitched versus the Royals. So that game was in Texas. This one's in Kansas City today. He pitched against the Royals in Texas on June 18th, and the Royals won that game 6-3. 5 innings pitched, 6 hits, 4 earned runs allowed, 1 home run, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. So this Royals offense looks a little bit different than it did back then. And, we could go to that game log real quick. Corbin. Corbin game log. Just kind of look at that box score to see who was in this game for the Royals. Looks like a lot of the guys that are in today were in. They don't have Fermin anymore. Isbell. Let me see. Yeah, so the lineup kind of looks different, but overall, well, there's some guys out today for the Royals. Looks like Frazier's not in, and Yastrzemski, but that's okay, I think. But let's look into some other stuff here. Okay, so Texas is 5-7 on the road with Corbin this season. They won 4 out of 5 of those games by 3+ runs. They lost 6 games by 2+ runs. Out of the 7 that they did lose, they lost 6 of those by 2+ runs. Texas does have a 2-0 record in Thursday road games that Corbin has pitched in this season, and they won both of those games by 7+ runs. So if you're thinking about Texas today by a large margin, you got that going for you. Teams are 2-3 when Corbin pitches against the Royals throughout his career. All right. So whichever team Corbin has pitched with against the Royals throughout his career, those teams have a 2-3 record when he pitches against the Royals. Average pitch count has been 86 this season, 77 in his last 5 games. I'm seeing that he has a much worse batting average allowed to right-handed hitters. So if you're thinking about Garcia, who's batting 326 off left-handed pitchers for a hit today, or Bobby Witt Jr. for getting a hit or something of that nature against Corbin today, he's batting 316 against left-handed pitchers. So that's once again, much worse against right-handed batting average. Corbin and Garcia and Witt are particularly good against left-handed pitchers in regards to batting average. Okay. Um, Now I'm seeing that he's about the same in regards to home runs allowed to lefties and righties. But he's much worse against right-handed hitters hitting home runs since 2023. All right. And he does have I've seen lower home runs per 9 inning averages. I've seen higher. Uh, it's at 1.3 according to rotowire.com. 1.3 home runs per 9 innings. Now, I do want to just mention real quick that the Royals are slightly above average, right about average in regards to stolen bases per game. Seeing Tolbert in the lineup today for the Royals. Is he fast? Yeah, 17 stolen bases this season. I thought so. So if I'm the Royals today, I'm possibly looking to, attack the bases a little bit more than usual because Corbin, his net bases prevented mark is at -3. So he's not the best at holding base runners from advancing on him. Um, in regards to stolen bases, -3. Now Texas as a team is below average as well, and stolen bases allowed per game. They rank 19th in that department. So I do think the Royals have an advantage in that regard. Now, Lorenzen, right-handed pitcher for the Royals today. He used to pitch for Texas in 2024. I'm not quite sure what happened there. Did they trade him? Maybe he's got a little bit of animosity towards the Rangers. Traded. I'm just gonna look it up. Um, yeah, looks like that's exactly what happened. So, not sure if he's upset about that or not. And quite honest with you, I'm not sure if Lorenzen has pitched against Texas since then. I think he probably has. Um, but what I do know is that teams that Lorenzen has played have played has excuse me teams that Lorenzen has played for are 0-3 throughout his career when he pitches in a game against Texas. All right. So if you're liking the Royals today, you got that going against you. Now, Lorenzen hasn't pitched against Texas this season. The Royals are 4-3 at home with Lorenzen this season. They won 3 of those games by 2+ runs, and they lost all of those games by 3+ runs. The Royals, they're 1-1 in Thursday home games with Lorenzen this season. They won one of those games by exactly 4. They lost one of those games by exactly 4. His average pitch count looks like it's been a little bit higher than Corbin's. Now, both of these bullpen ERAs are above average. Texas ranks tied for fourth best bullpen ERA in baseball, and the Royals rank seventh in that department. Okay, but yeah, Lorenzen 89 pitches throughout his average pitch count throughout the season, 85 in his last 5. Seeing worse batting average allowed against right-handed hitters. Okay, and same with home runs. His walks per 9 innings isn't concerning to me, but his home runs per 9 innings is higher than Corbin's. So if you're thinking about, a Texas Ranger today for a home run, you got that going for you. Uh, Now, Texas is a very good base stealing team. They rank 6th in stolen bases per game, okay? But the Royals do rank 1st in stolen bases allowed per game. So the Royals, they're a tough team to steal on. Also, Lorenzen, his net bases prevented mark is at 1, okay? Um, in regards to how the bats match up, and I kind of didn't mention that with the Athletics game. I do like how the Athletics bats in regards to batting average match up more against Minnesota's pitcher more than Minnesota's bats in regards to batting average matches up against the Athletics pitchers today. um Same thing with the Royals, kind of. So I really like the batting average of Garcia and Witt. We talked about that. 326 for Garcia, 316 for Bobby Witt against left-handed pitching. Whereas Texas has Seager. Uh, he's the top guy for Texas against right-handed pitching this season, batting 281 against right-handed pitching. Then we have Smith at 272 and Carter at 266. So um, there are probably a few more bats or one more bat that I like today in regards to batting average for Texas, but I really like the batting average for the Royals. I see some other advantages for the Royals here. We talked about, after a loss, they rank second best on that run line. Um, the Royals have a better home record at home with Lorenzen this season than the Rangers do on the road with Corbin. Um, I would have to lean towards the Royals in this game on that run line. Uh, right now, I'm seeing that they're favored. So, and also, guys, if you don't want to stick around for the whole show or just want to stop in for these early games or something like that, after I cut the live stream, I'm gonna be posting um, my leans to my social media pages. So, um, if you're just interested in that, then by all means do what you got to do. But Yeah, let me just right here lean up Royals minus 1.5. All right, moving on. Milwaukee and Chicago. Now, a lot of these starting lineups haven't even dropped yet, and we talk about how important starting lineups are. So, um, I'm not going to make any posts about leans unless I see all the information that I need. Okay. Anyways, Milwaukee versus Chicago Cubs. So Milwaukee, after a loss, ranks fourth best in baseball on that run line. Also, as a road underdog, they rank second best in baseball. Okay, so two favorable run line trends there for Milwaukee today. And the Cubs, after a win, they're the worst team in baseball on the run line. 24-48 record on the run line, worst in baseball. Okay. So I got to give the advantage for the Cubs there. Priester, projected right-handed pitcher for Milwaukee today, pitched against the Cubs on July 29th, and Milwaukee won that game 9-3. He did allow 8 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 home run, so it doesn't look like it was the greatest game here. Okay, but Milwaukee is 8-5 on the road. That's their record. Just win-loss record on the road with Priester this season, and they've won 8 of those games in a row. All right, so that's pretty cool if you're thinking about Milwaukee today. They won 5 out of those 8 games by 2+ runs, so more times than not, Milwaukee has won on the road with Priester by 2+ runs. They lost 3 out of the 5 games that they did lose on the road with Priester by 2+ runs. Teams that Priester has pitched for are 1-1 against the Cubs throughout his career. When he pitches in a game against the Cubs, Milwaukee is 0-1 in Thursday road games with Priester, which they lost that game by exactly 5 runs. Average pitch count 86 in his last 5, 84 throughout the season. Both of these bullpens I just want to mention are very close in regard to bullpen ERA. Um, Milwaukee ranks 9th, Chicago ranks 10th. I'm seeing that he's worse versus right-handed hitting batting average this season, but worse versus left-handed batting average since 2023. So I think that's just like I don't really know what to do with that information. Do you want to go with the information, the data where he's saying that he's worse against left-handed hitters since 2023, or worse against right-handed bat hitting batters this right-handed hitters batting average this season? I think what it comes down to is sample size, right? If you got a good sample size about a pitcher this season, then maybe we don't look into the 20 since 2023 so much. But if we have a small sample size this season about a pitcher, then it becomes more important, to look at that 2023 mark. But it looks like he's got a nice sample size for the season, so I think I'd have to lean towards right-handed hitters against him to get a hit today for the Cubs. All right. Now I'm seeing that he's worse against right-handed hitting home runs this season, but about the same since 2023. Okay. Um, Walks per 9 inning, home runs per 9 inning isn't terrible, but it's getting up there, but not worth mentioning right at the moment. All right, so Imanaga, projected pitcher for Chicago today, left-handed pitcher, pitched at Milwaukee on May 4th. Milwaukee won that game 4-0. Um, Won that game 4-0. 5.2 innings pitched, 4 hits allowed, 2 earned runs, no home runs. So pretty decent game here for Imanaga in his last outing against Milwaukee. Um, although Milwaukee did win that game. Okay. Then he pitched at Milwaukee on July 30th, and the Cubs did win that game 10-3. 5 innings pitched, 5 hits allowed, 3 earned runs, 2 home runs allowed, eight strikeouts. So it looks like Milwaukee, is capable of hitting off this guy. The Cubs have a 5-3 record at home with Imanaga pitching this season. They won 3 of those games by 2+ runs. They lost all of those games by 3+ runs. The Cubs are 0-0. They haven't played any Thursday home games with Imanaga this season. All right. The Cubs are 1-2 against Milwaukee when Imanaga pitches throughout his career. Average pitch count for him has been 89 in his last 5, 87 in his throughout the season. I'm seeing that he's much worse against right-handed hitting batting average and home runs as well. Okay, so um, And his home runs per 9 inning average is up there. So if you like a home run hitter in this game for Milwaukee, you got that going for you. Now, we already talked about how the wind could be a little detrimental to bats in this game, but anything's possible. Let me just double check this lineup because it wasn't, and it looks like Churio is not in for Milwaukee, which isn't the most ideal thing for them. Let me look at these other guys here. Okay. Overall, I like not only the batting average, but the amount of bats with a relatively good batting average against the left-handed Imanaga today for Milwaukee more than I like. Uh, the batting averages and the number of bats that have a solid batting average against the right-handed Priester. In regards to stolen bases per game, both of these teams are very fast, and both of them are very difficult to steal off of. But if I were to have to lean towards, somebody having a base stealing advantage here, I would give that advantage to the Cubs here, simply because uh, Imanaga has a better net bases prevented number, which is at 2, than Priester does. He's at 0. With all that being said, the Cubs do have Kelly, who's not starting in that projected starting lineup today either, which like give a decrease to the Cubs' bats just in that regard. Um, I have to lean towards Milwaukee here. I like those run line trends. I like that they do have a better record on the road with Priester this season than the Cubs do with Imanaga at home, even though both are winning records. Um, and I do think that this is a tougher game. Just looking at this data, I think it's a little bit tougher game to call than the other two. I'm not saying that the other two are shoe-ins, right? But just statistically speaking, it looks pretty even between these two teams. And so, the biggest separation that I really see is simply uh, the fact that the Cubs are the worst run line record team in baseball after a win, and Milwaukee is the second best run line record, has the second best run line record as a road underdog. So my lean here is going to be Milwaukee plus 1.5, which is heavily juiced at the book I'm looking at. I really don't like to give you guys, heavily juiced leans. I mean, +1, -138, just to win, +118. But I'm gonna stick it with I'm gonna stick with the run line. Some of them might be heavily juiced, but it goes the other way. Sometimes I might like a team -1.5, right? Um, and it's plus. So let's move on and let's update rotowire.com to see if any of these other lineups have dropped yet. So now we're starting to get into the games where I don't have as much information about. Um, I don't have as much information about the game. So I'll be making posts throughout the day on my social media pages on which way I lean towards. And I'm gonna be doing that as of right now. That's what I'm thinking. During football season, um, not only having shows but posting a lean for every single game. I'm even thinking about throwing play of days in there and stuff like that. So, all right. So let's look into this Dodgers and Rockies game. All right, so here is a proud moment as a Colorado Rockies fan for me here. The Colorado Rockies, after a win, have the best run line record in baseball, 21-15. Um, and then, but on the flip side, as a home underdog, the Rockies ranked 29th. So that's kind of a wash there. Um, The Dodgers, as a road favorite, ranked 16th in baseball on the run line. I don't really see any, even though the Rockies do have the most favorable run line trend, they also have the worst run line trend out of these two games, or two teams. So uh, let's look at some other stuff other than the run line trend. So Kershaw pitched at Colorado on June 26th, and the Dodgers won that game 3-1. 6 innings pitched, 2 hits allowed, 1 earned run, 1 home run, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. So he pitched a pretty solid game, I would say, against the Rockies in that game. The Dodgers are 4-3 on the road with Kershaw this season on that money line. Okay, they won all of those games by 2+ runs, and then they lost all of the games that they did lose on the road with Kershaw by 2+ runs. The Dodgers are 1-0 in Thursday road games with Kershaw pitching. They won that game by exactly 2 against the Rockies. The Dodgers have a 23-10 win-loss record against the Rockies when Kershaw has pitched against them throughout his career. 23-10. Some of those games maybe he didn't start. I didn't dive into it that much, but yeah, 23-10 is the number I came up with. Average pitch count 74 throughout the season this year, and then 82 in his last 5. And I think it is important for him to get that pitch count up there today for the Dodgers, because both of these bullpen ERAs are below average. However, the Rockies have um, the sorry about that bottom ticker there, but yeah, WNBA and stuff right there at the bottom. But yeah, uh, Kershaw and Dollander. Both of these bullpen ERAs are below average, but the Rockies have the second worst bullpen ERA in baseball. The Dodgers rank 21st. All right. So I'm seeing that he's worse against Kershaw, is worse against left-handed hitting batting average this season, but worse against right-handed hitting batting average since 2023. I'm seeing that he's worse against right-handed hitting home runs. If you like a Colorado Rocky today to hit a home run, I will say that this ballpark is, from what I could read throughout previous shows, more favorable to left-handed hitters hitting home runs than right-handed hitters hitting home runs. We did talk about that wind blowing in a little bit against lefties. That could be, you know, not the greatest situation, but it's still Coors Field. Uh, they play in that high altitude, so home runs are possible. Now, Kershaw isn't allowing a lot of home runs this season in regards to home runs per 9 innings allowed. It's at 0.8, which is low. Um, he also, net bases prevented mark is at 3, so I don't expect the Rockies, who ranked 22nd in stolen bases per game this season, I don't expect them to steal a lot of bases off Kershaw, if any. And the Dodgers are average in stolen bases allowed per game. I'm not concerned about Kershaw allowing a whole lot of walks. I mean, I do kind of want to touch base on home runs in this game if we have time. So I'm going to try to remember to come back to it. Okay. Um, Dollander pitched versus the Dodgers. So this was in Colorado on 6/25, and the Dodgers won that game 8-1. 5.2 innings pitched for Dollander in that game. 3 hits allowed, 3 earned runs. So he didn't pitch terrible. He only allowed 3 hits. So the bullpen for the Rockies must have come in and squandered that game away. The Rockies have a 4-5 record at home, win-loss record with Dollander this season. They won 3 out of the 4 of those games that they did win at home with Dollander by 2+ runs. And then they lost 3 out of the 5 games that they lost at home with Dollander by 2+ runs. They haven't played a Thursday home game with Dollander this season. The Rockies are 0-1 when Dollander pitches against the Dodgers throughout his short career. Average pitch count's been 85 in his last 5, 84 in his, throughout the season. I'm seeing that he's slightly worse in regards to left-handed hitters batting average, and then slightly worse against left-handed hitters hitting home runs. His home runs per 9 inning is also high. It's at 1.7 home runs per 9 inning. His walks per 9 innings is high. It's at 4.4. Teams have been stealing off of him. it looks like his net bases prevented is at -4, which is bad in regards to, if he's going up against a fast team, which the Dodgers aren't particularly fast. But if I were the Dodgers today, and if I needed to, I would possibly try to be a little bit more aggressive on those bases. The Dodgers do rank 19th in stolen bases per game, and the Rockies rank 25th in stolen bases allowed per game. Team walks per game. Also, the Dodgers rank second best in team walks drawn per game. And I think that will be a problem, just based on what I'm looking at here. He did allow Dollander, allowed 2 walks against the Dodgers in that game that he pitched earlier this season. And I could see the same thing, if not worse, here today for Dollander. Now, I'm going to have to probably lean towards the Dodgers in this one. But I haven't seen the starting lineup for the Dodgers yet. So I got RotoWire here open. Here we go. So Smith, Freeman, no Muncy, who was batting 288 off right-handed pitching. And the Rockies bats don't match up terrible against the left-handed Kershaw today. Ohtani, doesn't look like Ohtani is playing in this one. No, he is not in the starting lineup. Pages and Call. So I mean, overall, Rockies batting averages in regards to their bats match up pretty well. Uh, Pretty well, man, against the Dodgers. I don't think this is by any means a cakewalk for the Dodgers in this game. Doyle's batting 327 off of left-handed pitching. Beck 308. Now Will Smith batting 320 off of right-handed pitching. Freeman 306 off of right-handed pitching. Um, I think what this really comes down to is some of these other trends, right? Such as the Dodgers have a 23-10 win-loss record against the Rockies when Kershaw has pitched against them throughout his career. We talked about the base stealing advantage that the Dodgers have, although it's not significant, it is an advantage. Um, and Dollander, I don't trust him to not to be able to walk people here in this one. I just trust Kershaw a little bit more here. Kershaw proved that, and the Dodgers proved that they could win a game by 2+ runs against the Rockies at Colorado earlier this season. And Dollander and the Rockies haven't showed me that they could, beat the Dodgers or come within 1 run. Whenever Dollinger pitched in that game, once again, Dodgers won that game 8-1 earlier this season. So I'm gonna have to lean towards the Dodgers in this one. Let's move on. I'm gonna try to go back and look at, and guys, that might be the best thing to do. I know some of you are maybe looking at that game for home runs. Let me just browse it real quick. So what I would do if I'm looking for home runs is I would look at Dollander's pitch arsenal, which I already see is at 49% four seam. Okay, so 49% of the time, Dollander's throwing that four seam fastball, which is a heavily used pitch. Okay, 49%. You kind of know what's coming. So um, let me look to see who's got the best slugging percentage, which measures, basically how powerful a batter is. Okay. Who on this Dodgers team is the best out of the starting players today for the Dodgers against that four seam fastball? Muncy and Ohtani are out. The next guy up is Hernandez. But he's not in this game. So, the Dodgers are without a few big bats here. But then we got Will Smith batting 537, slugging 537 off of that four seam fastball, which is pretty good. And then Freeman 491. That could be better. So what about his second most used pitch, Dollander, the 23% used curveball? Um, you know, out of those two guys that I mentioned, Will Smith or um, the other guy, who was it, Freddie? Freeman is slugging better than Will Smith off the curveball, but neither of these guys are slugging great off of it. 378 for Freddie, 345 for Will Smith. So I would probably have to go with Will Smith. Um, but it's a more favorable home run park for left-handed hitters. However, Dollander is slightly worse against left-handed hitters hitting home runs. So let me go with Freddie Freeman in this one to go deep. That'd be my favorite play in regards to home run hitters, I guess. And then it would be Will Smith. Yeah. Okay. So let's move on here. Mets and Washington. I'm going to cap this show at 18 minutes at the top of the hour. All right. So Mets and Washington. Once again, guys, I don't have as much information about these games, okay, as I do some other games tonight because the starting lineups are not out and whatnot. Now, I do see one lineup out for the Mets here. And I'll make a post once I find some more information out as the day goes on, okay? So, Mets. Most favorable run line trend that I see here is that the Mets are ranked 12th on the run line as a road favorite. The biggest run line disadvantage that I see here is that Washington ranks 26th as a home underdog on that run line. Manaea, left-handed pitcher, projected to pitch here today for the Mets, hasn't pitched against Washington this season. The Mets are 0-3 on the road this season with Manaea pitching. They lost one of those games by exactly 6. The other games they lost by exactly 1. The Mets haven't had a game, Thursday road game this season with Manaea pitching. Teams that Manaea have pitched for throughout his career are 3-2 against Washington when he pitches. Win loss 3-2. Average pitch count 85 in his last 5, 80 throughout the season. And I do want to mention real quick that the Mets have the 11th best bullpen ERA. Washington has the worst bullpen ERA in baseball. Seeing that he's got the same batting average allowed to lefties and righties this season, but slightly worse against lefties batting average since 2023. Worse versus right-handed hitting home runs. If you'd like a home run hitter for Washington today, got that going for you. And his home runs per 9 inning rate is at 1.7. Okay, it's at 1.7. He's not walking a ton of guys, and Washington doesn't draw a whole lot of walks. Now Gore, left-handed pitcher for Washington, pitched at New York Mets on June 10th, and the Mets won that game 5-4 in extra innings. And he pitched pretty decently. He did allow 5 hits through 6 innings, 2 earned runs, 1 home run, 6 strikeouts. Not the worst, not the best. Washington does have a 3-8 record with Gore at home this season. They won those 3 games, all of them by 2+ runs, but they did lose 7 out of the 8 games that they did lose at home with Gore by 2+ runs. Washington has a 0-2 win-loss record in Thursday home games with Gore this season. Teams that Gore has pitched for throughout his career have a 1-6 win-loss record when he pitches in a game against the Mets. 87, pitches is his pitch count in his last 5 games, and I think that's important for him to get up to that point because Washington once again has the worst bullpen ERA in baseball. So I'm seeing he's worse against right-handed batting average this season, but worse against lefties since 2023. He's about the same in regards to home runs allowed to lefties and righties. His walks per 9 inning and home run per 9 inning are not terrible. I would have to give the Mets, although Washington does rank better in stolen bases per game, I have to give the Mets a slight base stealing advantage in this game today because of a couple things. Okay, so the Mets rank 12th in stolen bases per game. Washington ranks 8th. But the Mets are much better in stolen bases allowed per game. They're preventing that at a good mark. And Manaea has a better net bases prevented mark than Gore does. Manaea's is at 1, Gore's at -1. There's not a big difference there, but there is a slight difference in all of this stuff. And just as of right now, I don't like that McNeil isn't in. He's batting 302 against left-handed hitters for the Mets today. I don't like that McNeil is not projected to be in the starting lineup today. This one is probably the statistically speaking. I think I talked about one earlier that was a tough one to call. It was, I think, Milwaukee and Chicago. I think this one might be a little bit tougher for me to make a decision about. I probably have to lean towards the Mets, but if you like Washington, I could definitely see that. San Francisco and San Diego. So let me just right here, and I might change my lean on that, guys. I'm gonna make a post here pretty soon about the games that I have the information on, at least. Right now, I'm gonna have to lean towards the Mets, but I'll make a post here in a bit if I change my mind. I mean, I don't like that the Mets are 0-3 on the road. I don't want to get stuck on this game too long. Um, let's just go on to the next game. I'll lean Mets here, but ugh. Sorry, I'm just still kind of looking at that game. Okay, San Francisco and San Diego. This is the last game before the later games. This one starts at 4:10 p.m. Eastern time today. San Diego has more favorable run line trends here. They rank 6th on the run line as a home favorite and 7th best in baseball on the run line after a win. San Francisco ranks 27th, so what, 30, 29, 28, fourth worst on the run line after a loss, and they rank 17th, which is below average on the run line as a road underdog. Verlander, starting lineups are not out for this game yet, okay? So it is important. So I don't really feel comfortable giving a lean yet, even on that Mets game. I don't have a starting lineup for Washington. So I don't feel comfortable enough really giving a lean. I guess I would call that a pre-lean, okay? That's what I'll just call games that I don't have enough information about pre-lean. So I pre-lean with the Mets on that run line. Anyways, Verlander hasn't pitched against the Padres this season. The Giants have a 2-7 record, win-loss record on the road with Verlander this season. They did win both of those games by 6+ runs. They lost 4 out of the 7 games that they lost on the road with Verlander this season by 2+ runs. San Francisco hasn't pitched with Verlander in Thursday road games this season. Now teams are 3-0 throughout Verlander's long career when he's pitched against the Padres. So he's never been a part of a game. He's never pitched in a game against the Padres, from my understanding. Never pitched against in a game against the Padres where he's lost. Average pitch count's been 96 in his last five, 87 throughout the season. Seeing that he has a worse left-handed batting average allowed this season, but worse against righties against since 2023. About the same with the home runs. Lefties and righties aren't particularly batting worse or better. Okay. What I will say, just I'm looking at the batting averages for the Padres. I'm sure you guys know the Padres are a pretty dangerous team. They have a lot of quality batting averages against right-handed pitching. All right, but lineups aren't out yet. Cease, the projected pitcher today for the Padres, pitched against San Francisco on June 5th, and San Francisco won that game 3-2. 5 innings pitched, 5 hits allowed, 3 earned runs. No home runs, 3 walks, 7 strikeouts. San Diego, they have a 9-3 record, win-loss record at home this season. When Cease pitches, they won 7 out of the 9 games by 2+ runs. They lost 3 out of those 3 games, all of those games by 3+ runs. They haven't pitched in a Thursday home game with Cease this season. Teams are 3-4 against San Francisco throughout their Cease's career when he pitches a game against them. So Verlander once again is 3-0 against San Diego. Well, he's not, but the teams that he's pitched for are. Same with Cease, and he may be. You know how it is with baseball. It can get a little complicated when you say I can't just say Verlander is 3-0 throughout his career. They account for wins for pitchers a little differently, right? So I mean he could be right, but anyways, average pitch count's been 92 in his last five. Worse against right-handed batting average this season, but worse against lefties since 2023. He's worse in regards to left-handed hitters hitting home runs. I know Devers is a guy that a lot of you guys look for and possibly hitting home runs. If that's a guy that you're interested in today, you got that going for you with Cease. I'm not saying that I'm interested or not interested in Devers. I'm just saying, Cease is worse against left-handed hitters hitting home runs. His walks per nine inning average is rather high. It's at 3.8, which makes me concerned that he's going to walk some San Francisco Giants today. San Francisco does rank seventh in team walks drawn per game, right? Now, I don't think San Francisco is necessarily going to steal bases off of Cease because San Francisco ranks the worst in stolen bases per game. Also, San Diego is above average in stolen bases allowed per game, and Cease has a net bases prevented number at 6, which is the best I saw today. So, but it can be detrimental when you're walking guys and then somebody doubles, or um, homers, or you just keep walking guys. That could be detrimental, of course. But I really look at that stuff mainly to see, how active or not active players are going to be on those bases. Both of these bullpen ERAs, when I looked this morning, uh, are ranked first and second in baseball. All right. So they're two very good bullpen ERAs. At the end of the day, I think I have to lean towards, and I do just want to mention real quick, San Diego ranks 18th in stolen bases per game. San Francisco's above average. They rank 7th in stolen bases allowed per game. But Verlander's net bases prevented number is at -2. So I do think San Diego might be able to steal a bag off of him today. Um, I would give a pre-lean towards San Diego in that game on that run line. All right. Then we got 3 other games. We got about 5 minutes. Um, so for these games, I'll maybe just run through some information real quick. Uh, just give a pre-lean and call it a show. But Jason Alexander pitched against Ball. I'm just going to run through this stuff pretty quickly here. All right, so Alexander pitched versus Baltimore on 8-16, and Houston won 5-4 in extra innings. 6 innings pitched, 3 hits allowed, 2 earned runs allowed, 1 home run allowed, no walks, 6 strikeouts. Houston is 4-0 win-loss on the road with Alexander pitching this season. They won all of those games by 6+ runs. Um, so I'm probably going to be pre-leaning and leaning towards Houston in this game, uh, based on several factors. But I did like that. Teams. So Houston has a 1-0 record when Alexander pitches against Baltimore throughout his career. 87 has been his pitch count in his last 5 games. Worst against left-handed hitters, batting average about the same against left-handed hitting and right-handed hitting home runs. If you like a home run in this game, I would look into it because Baltimore, from my understanding, is a favorable ballpark to hit home runs in. 3.7 walks per 9 innings, but Baltimore doesn't isn't the best team at drawing walks per game. Um, I would give Baltimore a base stealing advantage, but Alexander's net bases prevented mark isn't terrible. It's at 0. Okay. Um, Now with Baltimore, Young is the projected pitcher today for Baltimore. Pitched versus Houston on 8-15, and Baltimore won that game 7-0. 8 innings pitched and only allowed 1 hit. So Brandon Young, man, isn't that game. He almost threw that no hitter or perfect game. So this dude pitched good against Houston already this year. Okay, Baltimore is 2-4 at home with Young this season. They won 1 game by exactly 4. They lost 3 games by 7+ runs. Uh, Baltimore has a 1-0 record when Young pitches against Houston throughout his short career. 81 pitch count in his last 5, which I think is important because Baltimore has the 25th ranked bullpen ERA compared to Houston's 8th ranked bullpen ERA. Home runs allowed per 9 inning is at 1.7. If it were me and I were targeting a home run hitter in this game, I'd probably be leaning towards Houston for a couple of reasons. One, because Young has a higher home runs per 9 inning average than Alexander, but also Baltimore has the 25th ranked bullpen ERA. So if you know, Houston doesn't get one against Young, possibly maybe they could get one against the bullpen. But hey, man, Young pitched 8 innings, so in the last outing against Houston. So, anyways, um, team walks drawn per game. Although his home run walks per 9 inning average is almost at that 3.5 threshold, Houston ranks 25th in team walks drawn per game. But I think starting lineups are going to be really important in this game. I don't see a whole lot. Once again, another close game for me to call. I'm gonna have to lean towards Houston in this game, simply because Houston is 4-0 on the road, win loss against with Alexander pitching this season, and won all of those games by 6+ runs. So, uh, pre-lean Houston. All right, then we got the Boston Red Sox and the Yankees. Boston, what is this? Babe Ruth on this day, from my understanding, became the first MLB player to hit 600 career home runs as the Yankees beat the St. Louis Browns 11-7. You might want to check me on this, but yeah, if you're interested in it. But also on this day in 1926, the Chicago White Sox pitcher Ted Lyons threw a no-hitter against Boston as the White Sox won 6-0. So we have one thing in history, historically, that has happened good for the Yankees on this specific day in history, which was that Babe Ruth 600 career home run mark. And then one bad thing for the Red Sox is somebody threw a no-hitter against them in 1926. So about 99 years ago on this day. Anyways, Giolito, right-handed projected pitcher for the Boston Red Sox, hasn't pitched against the Yankees this season. Boston 6-4 with Giolito on the road this season. They won 5 of those games by 2+ runs. They lost 2 of those games by 3+ runs. Average pitch count's been 90. Worst batting average against right-handed hitters allowed, about the same in regards to lefties and righties. Home runs allowed. Uh, Walks per 9 inning average isn't terrible. Home runs per 9 inning average could be better, could be worse. 1.3. Now Gill is the projected starting pitcher for the Yankees today. Hasn't pitched against Boston this season. The Yankees are 1-0 with Gill at home this season and won that game by exactly 1 run. Average pitch count's been 84. I'm seeing that he's worse against lefties in regards to batting average allowed. And then about the same versus lefties and righties in regards to home runs allowed. Mm, mm. Something that worries me about Gill is his walks per nine inning average is very high. It's at 5.1, and Boston is above average at team walks drawn per game. Also, Boston has a better bullpen ERA. I would say I didn't see Gill's net bases prevented number on this chart, but what I will say is that I would try to find that information if I were looking into getting some action in on this game because um, Gill, um, Boston's a good base stealing team, and although the Yankees are above average in stolen bases allowed per game, maybe Gill's terrible with his pickoff move. I'm not sure. Okay, at the top of my head. Um, Anyways, I guess I just have to, man, pre Yankees do have the most favorable. They have the fourth best run line record in baseball as a home favorite, but they rank 24th on the run line after a win. Boston's about average after a loss, and as a road underdog in regards to run line trends. I think this game's another tough one for me to call, but I would have to lean towards Boston as of now. Once again, I have uh, pre-lean Boston, though that can change. So I'll make a post here in a bit. Once I find out a little bit more information, and then it looks like it's Pepio's birthday today. Okay, for Tampa Bay Rays, we'll talk about that game and get out of here. So I don't have a lot of information on this game, to be quite honest with you. I don't have any of the pitcher information that we've already gone through. So I still will be looking at that, though, throughout the day. And I'll post my lean to my social media pages. All I really have right now is, St. Louis when I looked this morning, is tied for fourth in bullpen ERA. Tampa Bay's tied for 11th. Tampa Bay could have a very big base stealing advantage in this game. They are the best team in regards to stolen bases per game. St. Louis ranks 21st in stolen bases allowed per game. Okay. So just before I get out of here, I do want to just look at Sonny Gray. Oh, net bases prevented. I'll make a post next time I'm doing a show. Just been very busy lately. Okay. I'm just looking at Gray. Net bases prevented, right? It's at 5. So when you look at that number, you think, oh, Tampa Bay, their stolen bases per game, they rank first, and the Cardinals rank 21st in stolen bases allowed per game. Yeah, but Sonny Gray, net bases prevented numbers at 5. So I don't like uh, Tampa Bay as much as I initially would like them, just based off that net bases prevented mark. But I don't have even enough information right now to give a pre-lean in this game. I guess the Cardinals. But I'm gonna have to look into this game some more. So, anyways, the game I probably feel the most confident in right now. I mean, all of them are about the same that I'm looking at. Athletics minus 1.5, I think, look decent. Milwaukee plus 1.5, but that's heavily juiced. And I don't even really like that, right? We were talking about that earlier. Dodgers minus 1.5. Those would probably be the ones. And I just don't have enough information yet on San Francisco and San Diego. Um, I don't know. I mean, just as of right now, Athletics minus 1.5 is where I'd be leaning. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining. I hope you guys have a great day. Yeah, I'm on a bunch of social media pages, so feel free to check out the leans when I post them. I need to make a post right now, so and I'll make another post whenever I find out some more information. So, all right, guys. Thank you so much. Hope you guys have a great day. Good luck.